Hello, and welcome to Symphony Notes, the new video news series from the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra. My name is Patrick Nugent. I'm the executive director at the Symphony, and this series is designed to give you a regular peek behind the curtain at the Annapolis Symphony. Symphony Notes will feature special guests of all kinds each month as we do this, but our first special guest is our music director, the most familiar member of the Symphony, José-Luis Novo. José-Luis, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Symphony Notes is made possible in part with assistance from the Arts Council of Anne Arundel County and the Elville Center for the Creative Arts. José-Luis, you are the music director of the Symphony, which means that we can see you next Friday and Saturday, the 1st and 2nd of March, 8 p.m. at Maryland Hall. For tickets, you can come to the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra's website, or you can call our box office at 410-263-0907. So I've invited José-Luis here to explore some of the music with us and some special treats that we're going to be seeing at this concert. The season, José-Luis, explores ways in which film and music animate and enliven one another. Why would you do this in a classical music series?
Well, I think oftentimes we've been told that we are a little, that we work kind of on a frame. So this is a way for ourselves to free ourselves up a little bit and sort of taking the labels off somewhat. We wanted to do something more experimental, connecting music to a different art form, which is movie making. And this is why the whole season is about connecting the music with movies in different ways. And this is, I would say, the program this season that represents the best.
So what are you hoping to accomplish then by bringing video into a classical music concert hall?
Well, we want our audience to realize how important music is beyond what they are used to, which is they come to our concerts, they listen to our performances, and they enjoy it. But music is much more than that, and this is just one aspect that we are going to try to show to them in which music interacts with another art form. And I think that the different experiments that we are going to be doing should be very interesting.
So this is a concert in which we're doing two experiments. There will be two films shown. The first film is an animated one. So what are you trying to accomplish musically with this animated film?
Musically, it's just a fun experiment. We are going to be showing the short animated film. It's a 7-minute short film as it is originally, and then we are going to show it again with the orchestra performing live music with selections that I have made from the main repertoire. So the main purpose of this is showing our audience how music can change so much the perception of one thing. So we're going to see the short first time around, second time around. I'm sure it's going to be perceived completely different, just because the music is different and because the music is being performed live.
Are you at liberty to reveal to us what music we're going to hear under the
No,
second
because
show?
that's part of the surprise.
Ah, okay, fair enough. So this is an animated film. It's done by a French studio, if I recall. Can you give us just a very brief description of the film's theme?
Sure, it's an all-librarian sort of taking care of one last item, and then there is a surprise that happens, and sort of everything gets put in perspective. And then there is the young generation that shows up in the short as a sign of hope. So I think that it's a charming short that I think will be interesting to watch.
Wonderful. So the second film is also animated, but very differently from the first film. And you're showing it with a piece of music that has a very intriguing origin. Tell us more about that pairing.
Sure. The piece of music is called La Noche de los Mayas, which was written by Silvestre Revueltas, the Mexican composer. And actually, La Noche de los Mayas was an actual soundtrack to a movie that was created in 1939. The movie was not very... didn't make any great impact, so it has almost been forgotten, but the music did make great impact and is being performed now in an adjusted version of it made as a suite on 4 movements. Now, we are going to be showing that not with the original movie, but with a movie that has been created by an artist, Dutch artist, Jaco Olivier, who uses a little painting and video techniques, creating animated abstract paintings. I thought this was a great association because Revuelta's music is full of color and vibrant touches, and this technique of this Dutch artist is kind of the same way. So I thought that it would be great to put them together.
Now, the film itself, tell us what the title means in English.
La Noche de los Mayas means the night of the Mayas, which is basically an essay on the links of the Mexican culture with the Mayan civilization. The plot was sort of obscure, so the movie didn't quite make the point, but I think the music does make the point much more strongly in bringing the flavors and the vibrancy and the colors of the Mayan civilization. And I think that that's very apparent in the music that uses, in the last movement, a team of 13 percussion players, if you can only imagine that.
Mm-hmm. So 13 percussion players, that doesn't mean 13 drums, right?
No, it's all kinds of drums, some of them ancient drums, some of them current percussion instruments, but that's in addition to the 70 plus players that you have in a symphony orchestra. So we are going to be creating pretty major decibels of music.
Marvelous. Rock on the concert hall. I love it. So between these two pieces of music being shown with films, what else is being played?
Well, besides this music, we are going to be starting with a little symphony by Mozart. It's called the Little G minor because it's the key of the symphony is G minor, but it's not the famous G minor symphony number 40. It's number 25. And this symphony sort of became famous after it was used in the famous movie Amadeus. Before that, people almost didn't know it, but after people heard the music in the movie, it became much more part of the repertoire. And it's a beautiful early piece. Mozart was 18 years old, not even 18 years old when he composed this. Charming, but also shows a little bit of the tragic taints that his life was going to take later on. So we start with that, then we are going to do the little short experiment. There's also going to be a surprise that I'm not going to tell you about. Then in the second half, we are going to be performing Gustav Mahler's Adagietto from the Fifth Symphony, which is also featured in the famous movie Death in Venice by Visconti. And then we are finishing with The Night of the Mayas.
Okay. So the typical symphony is 4 or even 5 movements. How frequent is it that a conductor will feature only one movement of a symphony in a concert?
Well, this is not done very often these days. It used to be common practice 100 years ago when the concerts were kind of a selection of different movements and even different types of music. So this is sort of connecting again back with some of our traditions that have been lost. I think in this particular case, the subject is exploring the connection between music and movies. So I think that is completely justified. And I think the music is so incredibly gorgeous that I don't think anyone is going to mind. So
Gustav Mahler is famous for big, huge symphonic works that are dramatic and cosmic and just sort of shake your world. Is that what this piece is like?
No, this movement, as you know, is incredibly intimate and soft and poignant and beautiful. It only has strings and harp, and they are used with such subtlety that we are going to hear the beginning of the music and the end of the music starting softly, ending softly, and climaxing in the middle. But it's all very lyrical, and I think that is very, very touching. So the two pieces of music that are being shown with films, what particular or unique challenges do you face in conducting a piece of music that goes along with a film? Well, usually when you conduct music accompanying a film, you have to be aware of the timing issue. If your timing gets off, with the picture, with the movie, then things can fall apart very easily. So one immediate challenge for the conductor is making sure that the flow of the music keeps going exactly with the picture, with the movie. but also that you don't get so fixated with that then the pace of the music sounds artificial, because if that's the only goal, then the music sounds like it's only serving as an accompaniment. But I think that the music should enhance the perception of the movie. So finding that kind of balance is a special challenge.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to Revueltas, the composer of The Night of the Mayas. He's not necessarily very well known or familiar to American audiences. What makes him distinctive as a composer?
Well, he's a major figure in Mexican music. Revueltas, together with Carlos Chavez, were the two major Mexican composers who put Mexico into the world of classical music, the same way Bartók or Kodály did in Hungary, Sibelius did in Finland, or Falla did in Spain. So that's his main merit. But beyond that, I think Revueltas had an incredibly curious brain, and that shows in his music, because his music is very embracing of the culture, but also very forward-looking. So he was able to connect with the roots of Mexican culture, but at the same time look to the next generation of music making and opening the doors for Mexican composers. And I think he did that incredibly well.
Well, thank you very much. It sounds like it's going to be a spectacular concert, and we're very fortunate to have a couple of collaborations working in this concert. The Annapolis Symphony is committed to collaborating as much as possible with other arts organizations, and we're delighted to have had the help of the Annapolis Film Festival in identifying the first animated film that we're going to be featuring in this concert. And we're particularly delighted with the help of Tom and Kitty Stoner of Annapolis in identifying the second piece. Tom Stoner has the most remarkable video art collection in his home, and this piece was chosen by Tom and José-Luis out of that collection in his home, and we're deeply grateful to him for that. Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts featured and had an entire exhibit of his video art collection this past spring called Glistening, and this piece, this film appeared in that. The film is called Revolution, and it's just lovely in the way that it accompanies this piece of music, and I think they do reinforce one another. Well, thank you, José-Luis, for sharing your thoughts today about what's going to be a really brilliant concert. And I thank you for joining Symphony Notes for the first time. Remember, our next concert is Friday and Saturday, the 1st and 2nd of March at 8 p.m. in Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts. Tickets are available on the Symphony's website. You can just Google Annapolis Symphony and you'll find it, or you can call 410-263-0907. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends and family and invite them to enjoy the world's greatest music right in your own backyard. That's all for today. Special thanks to the Arts Council of Anne Arundel County and the Elville Center for the Creative Arts in helping to produce this news series. For the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra, I'm Patrick Nugent. Thank you for joining us.